The following is a presentation of the ForceCenter podcast feed.
As Obi-Wan Kenobi once said, hello there, and welcome to Databank Brawl, the podcast where we learn about Star Wars characters, discuss our feelings about those characters, and then make those characters fight for our amusement and hopefully yours. I'm your host. My name is Joseph Scrimshaw. With me, as always, except for that one time, is Ken Knapsack.
Glad to be back. Glad to be here on another. I'm looking forward to this one. This one has a guest who's long since needed to return.
Exactly. Our guest today is Matt Belknap.
Hello.
Yeah.
Now, our listeners, longtime listeners of Databank Brawl, know you as Matt gave the cape to Chopper Belknap. One of the early episodes of Databank Brawl. I believe Chopper was fighting one of the Inquisitors.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think he's flying through a marketplace. And you just decided, Matt, Chopper would want a cape. That's very true to his character.
Yes. Yeah, he's known for his flair.
He's known for his flair. Yeah, he's got a lot of flair. So thank you so much for joining us.
Sure.
Because this is actually a special episode. We do these every once in a while. The normal setup for Databank Brawl is that we pick the minor characters, the weirdo characters. Then we get to learn a little bit about them and see more things about their characters, see them expand into capes and whatnot, like Chopper. But when we reach certain goals that we've had for iTunes ratings and reviews, we do a special episode with actually major characters.
Oh, boy.
So today we have two major characters because our kind listeners got us to our iTunes ratings and reviews goal.
Awesome.
It's always scary.
It's scary. Yeah, we've done.
Scary.
Ken and I have done two of these, and we have this every once in a while with any characters. You like two characters, even if they're weirdos. Like, I don't want to make them hurt each other and spurt alien blood, but that's the podcast, so we gotta. It's even scarier to do with characters we love.
It is.
Are you guys ready to be frightened?
I am.
Because these are characters that I think we all love, or at least like very much. Here we go.
I'll be the judge of that. You don't know what I like.
Fair enough. I will warn you, there's a cape involved.
Okay.
Our first combatant is Lando Calrissian.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. What have we here? Hey, he's on my glass, too.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like you planned it.
I didn't even know, but I gave you the vintage Empire Lando Burger King glass.
Is this actually vintage? Or
That's the one.
That's
It's from
incredible.
1980. Yeah.
Yeah. We had some of these in my household when I was a kid. Not this one, I don't think.
Yeah.
But that's a treasure right there. Nice work.
Ken never knows the characters that I'm going to pick, so I didn't know either. And now Lando's staring at me, so I'm going to feel extra guilty.
I'll turn it around so you don't feel bad. How about that?
No, I need to see Lando's eyes. There we go.
We all need to see Lando's eyes.
I feel so beautiful. Here is what the StarWars.com databank has to say about good old Lando Calrissian. Once a smooth-talking smuggler, Lando Calrissian changed from a get-rich-quick schemer to a selfless leader in the fight against the Empire. From adventures with the ghost crew of rebels to the attack on Death Star 2, his quick wit and daring proved to be invaluable. So really a pretty short entry.
Yeah, for Lando on the StarWars.com page.
Yeah, but also makes it really, really clear. He turned into a selfless leader, according to canon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we less than a year away from seeing the early date? Or is that, I don't know what they've done with that release date, if it's really going to happen.
Still May.
Still May. So we're
2018.
Close.
So it's seen a get-rich-quick schemer, Lando Calrissian. So we always kind of take a look at the wilds of Wikipedia, see if there's anything of interest, get some stats from Ken. What do you got?
Yeah, he is 1.78 meters tall. We know...
that means nothing to me.
Yeah. What does that
I'm American. Please translate.
What does that roughly translate into? About 5'10"-ish.
5'10"-ish? Okay.
I'm not bad on that, too. Human males, we know that. Born on Socorro? Is that what it is? Socorro.
That's new to me.
Yeah, born on Socorro approximately 30 years before the Battle of Yavin. Yeah, we learned something today. Life and career, we know it. Obviously, I like this idea that they're officially saying he was a get-rich-quick scheme kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like, he always had something up his sleeve. We saw him appear in Rebels. He was setting up a mining operation, had those puffer pigs I love so much. Yeah, well, we know Lando. We love Lando.
Yeah, who knows? Depending on when we set this, he could have some puffer pigs with him.
Oh,
that
boy.
door is open to us.
Oh, boy.
And obviously, and I feel like this is, you set this up, but the cape, I mean,
Yeah.
he's the king of capes.
He's the king
I know
of
a lot of
capes.
people would say Darth Vader has the best cape, or he's certainly maybe one of the longest capes, but Lando's cape is like, it's fly. Like,
It's
it's
really-
the only way to describe it is fly.
Yeah, like anyone in evil armor, like Darth Vader, a tall person in evil armor can pull off a cape.
Right.
But Lando's like, you try to pull this off.
He's got that half cape. It's like
Yeah.
it's good for cloud cities, good for like any kind of any endeavor, any social engagement. You can throw that half cape on.
You're right. It's not a fussy cape. You know,
No.
there are no ties. You just throw it over your shoulders.
Right.
Yeah. And I love when he gets knocked, when punched by Han, and,
Yeah.
and he picks up the cape with purpose. Like that's a part of his life he wants.
And that's that big, he's got flair when he puts it back on, that
Yeah.
big spin.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no one quite like Lando.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about the databank entry saying he turned to a selfless leader? Now, he's certainly joined up with rebellion, recognized he needed a fight. We got in some various canon books that he pretty quickly went back to, taking back Cloud City and just going back to his Lando business, maybe with higher morals? What do we think?
You know, it's interesting that new book, from a certain point of view, has that story of Lando. And in it he learns that Han was probably involved in the destruction of the Death Star.
Yeah.
'Cause he's watching that footage on the darknet that the rebels put out. And his reaction to it is interesting, because he's like, that can't be it. What's Han doing there? Because he's a selfish jerk.
He's a
He's
scoundrel.
scoundrel.
Yeah.
He's like me. What caused Han? Like, he's asking those questions that would probably, serve to send him down this path that he goes on. So I like the idea that he truly became selfless.
Okay,
It's a
that
good transition. Now,
do you
what do
think?
they mean by that? I don't know. Does just flying the Falcon into the Death Star, is that a selfless act because it's dangerous? I don't know.
Yeah.
It did seem kind of like a suicide mission.
It
So, I guess that qualifies. But I never imagined that he had made some major, like, life-altering turn. It was just kind of like, for the greater good. I mean, like, the Empire was messing up his business,
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Like, it wasn't purely selfless that he got involved in the rebellion. He knew that, living under the thumb of the Emperor was no good for him. So he did what he had to do and put the skills that he had to good use.
Yeah.
So I see him just going right back to, he's like, he just wants the galaxy to be free enough that he can continue to swindle people.
Yeah.
I like that take on it, though.
Yeah, I like that, but that maybe he has a pang of guilt. Like, it's harder for him to swindle now that
Probably.
he's seen the light a little bit.
Yeah.
He got positive attention for blowing up the Death Star, too.
I mean, I was a little, surprise isn't the right word, but I was definitely hoping for him to pop up in Force Awakens, because it seemed like, I mean, you got Nine Numb, his flying buddy. You got a lot of other guys that he went into battle with there, and it just seemed like, I mean, hopefully maybe episode 8 or 9 he'll pop up, but it just seemed weird that he's no longer involved at any level.
Yeah, you don't want to believe that he went like full Hugh Hefner and he like locked himself in a tower on Cloud City.
Yeah.
He's got germophobia or anything like that. We want to know that things worked out for Lando.
Yeah, we do, and it is definitely weird, because in the real world, Billy D. Williams is still, alive and still functional,
Still
and
looking good.
He still goes around.
Still smooth.
Still wearing sunglasses inside.
Did not look 100% thrilled at the Star Wars Celebration, because Harrison Ford was getting all the attention, I thought, but and they let him speak for like one line. But that said, like, he's there,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't be. I know Dennis Lawson Wedge turns it down. I don't want to be a part of that Star Wars anymore. But Lando still feels like Billy D's like, nah, I'm Lando. Where am I?
He's still in. Like, he loves it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I understand people who maybe didn't know what they were getting into in the first trilogy.
Sure.
And then the rest of their lives are like, oh, God, I'm just like this minor thing. Why do you have to make a big deal out of it? But if you're Lando fucking Calrissian, you own that, man. Just own it. I would wear a cape in real life. Just be like, come on, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure that Billy D is at home right now wearing a cape.
Yeah.
Just listen to some tunes. Any other feelings or important thoughts about Lando before we find out who our next combatant is?
I mean, I could do probably a whole show on how much I actually do really love Lando and the character of Lando, how important it was to expand that galaxy, and how it was just, I think, Lando, Yoda's first, that puppet. You made a puppet work.
Yeah.
But Lando being second, like, it helps make the galaxy seem like it's bigger but real and not forced. Yeah. So Lando's an important character. I do enjoy him a lot.
Yeah.
Thus, I have my Lando glass.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it was a great example of like implying a backstory for Han and the Millennium Falcon and Chewie without really filling in the details. So it lets your imagination run wild when you see Empire and you just go, what was going on? What did these guys do?
Yeah.
And now they're going to fill in some of those blanks, which I'm a little ambivalent about because I kind of like just having it be all left up to our imagination. But at the same time, I love the idea of seeing the young Lando and young Han, mixing it up.
I'm right there with you on that. We're like, I don't want all the answers, but let's at least take a peek.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the reason I love Lando's characters, no matter how many things they tell us about him, there will always be some mystery.
Yeah.
That's just the nature of this character. He's always got a sparkle in an eye, like, well, something else might be going on that you don't know about, friends.
Right.
And what's going to be going on with him right now is he is going up against another cape wearer. Another major cape wearer.
Got cape versus cape action here?
We got straight up cape versus cape as Lando Calrissian faces Orson Krennic.
Directing.
I really wanted to do a spit take when you said that.
Here is what StarWars.com Databank has to say about Orson Krennic. As director of advanced weapons research for the Imperial military, Orson Krennic is obsessed with the completion of the long-delayed Death Star project. A cruel but brilliant man, Krennic has staked his reputation on the delivery of the functional battle station to the Emperor. So again, not a lot of details. That's mostly plot stuff. But that keyword obsessed.
Yeah.
That he's just pinning everything. His ego is the Death Star.
Absolutely is. And you're absolutely right. That he makes that cape work. You know?
His cape is badass. Yeah. Pulling off a white cape is next level caping right there.
You're making something called the Death Star.
Yeah.
But I can still make a white cape.
Yeah. I mean, and it was after Labor Day if you go by the calendar of the release of that film. So even more challenging. He's walking through rainy, there's a lot of bad weather he's dealing with.
He's dealing with a lot of maintenance, because the bottom of his cape is being dragged through farms on Lamu, and who knows where else he's been walking.
I
don't even want to see the hem of that cape. It's got to be a mess.
Orson Dirty Hem Krennic, for sure.
Yeah, it's like on Game of Thrones, you see those long shots of like Cersei Lannister or Marjorie Tyrell, and their dresses, the bottom of them are just black with disgustingness. Like, oh, beautiful dress.
Don't look down.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got for stats on Orson Krennic? Let's see if we can figure out how tall he is in America.
Yeah, well, he's 1.8 meters tall, so he beats Lando by just a smidge. So they're both around the 6 foot mark, though. They're tall, strapping lads there, and born 51 years before the Battle of Yavin.
Okay.
Light brown, light brown, later gray. Yeah, ain't we all there? Krennic was affiliated more with the engineer side of the Imperial's armada. There, he wasn't known for being a military leader, and I think we saw that on display in Rogue One.
Yes, we did.
Though he was still better than the guys in charge of the Scarif base. He still had to be like, deploy the garrison, like, come on,
dipshits.
Yeah.
All right, so and we know most of the details because some of the characters we deal with, they're small characters from the Cantina who've had 800 books written about them back in the Expanded Universe Legends. Krennic, it's what's on screen in the handful of books he's been in.
Yeah.
And that's it. We kind of know who this guy is.
Yeah, Orson Callan Krennic. That Catalyst novel is great. If you're out there listening and have not had a chance to take it in, I highly recommend that. It might make you, if you have kind of a negative view of Krennic or just kind of a neutral view of Krennic based on Rogue One, which I understand. The character was cut a little weird, cut a little different. Catalyst, the book, really fills it out. His climb to power, his want of power. Just he's a climber. He's a middle management climber. And it's pretty interesting.
Like Rogue One, I haven't read that book, but it did feel like we were missing some pieces because the movie he's he has the unenviable task of just kind of scurrying around, just like going to Tarkin, going to Vader, just everything's fine, and it cuts against the badassery of his introduction, where he's like, this guy's going to be like. When I saw the trailer, I was like, first of all, Ben Mendelsohn is an incredible actor, arguably one of the best actors ever in a Star Wars movie. He's so good. So I was like, this is going to be incredible. And then he's just his most of what he's doing in that movie is just like traveling from one place to another, making excuses.
Yes, it's like, you will never be this terrified of a middle manager.
He's like Michael Scott.
He is. Yeah, but you're right. That cold open of Rogue One, I really do like it, and I think there's some great acting going. There's some great moments. It looks great. Yeah. And you're right, and it was set us up for a villain who never really emerged.
Yeah, they didn't really give him enough to work with ultimately. To make it feel like he like when you cast Ben Mendelsohn, it almost feels like you are obligated to write the hell out of that character and give him something to work with, because he's going to hit it out of the park.
Yeah, and he does manage to make a couple of those lines. Sing.
Sure.
I love in the beginning of this Catalyst novel, there's a part where they're just beginning the whole Death Star process, and he's mad because he's not sitting closer, like in the auditorium, like during the PowerPoint presentation. Like, this is kind of what we're trying to do, and he's pissed that he's not sitting closer. Mm-hmm. And that one detail for me makes him sing in the movie, because he's the guy who's a little bit of an outsider.
Right.
He's not regal. He's kind of a poor kid who's pulled himself up by his bootstraps and can never quite be accepted.
There was a little bit in the novel Catalyst, like a Hans Landa feel to him when he's talking to Pugel the Lesser, and he's kind of going around. He's good at intimidating people. So I thought, that was really looking forward to. And that opening scene again kind of starts that way, but then no, it's just business meetings.
Yeah.
All right. The last thing I will say about this battle before we start, because I think it's important for us to know, is not only are these gentlemen of cape, they each have two capes. Because Lando has his general cape. He's like, I'll be a general of the rebellion, but you're giving me a damn cape. And then Krennic has his more like official cape, and then he's got the weird crinkly one too.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Is that an all-weather cape? The
I think it is. I think he wears
it's like enough of this cotton in the rain. This is horrible. Get me my all-weather cape.
Remember Krennic's great "Cotton in the Rain" speech? It's very powerful. It's sadly cut from Rogue One. Anyway, any other thoughts on these guys before we begin?
No, good choices.
All right, then let us fight. As always, we get to decide kind of where and when this battle happens. We're a little bit more confined because we certainly know Krennic's end date.
Yeah.
And we do try to play fair with canon there. We don't teleport them out of their times. So we're looking at before the Galactic Civil War. Mm-hmm. But these gentlemen have both been bouncing around the galaxy for quite a bit during the Empire's era of power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm trying to find a good, I definitely think it's during Krennic's trying to get the Death Star built and back on schedule, and maybe not back on schedule, but pushing it forward because it had some delays, and the collection of material was important.
I think you're so right. So I think that maybe we're at a point that's pretty close to the events of Rogue One.
Okay,
like maybe like a year before, so they're still finishing some building.
Okay,
and Lando is doing some kind of deal somewhere to try to get the material that Krennic also needs for the Death Star.
Right.
Because that's what Lando's doing in this period. He's trading puffer pigs for, Dunium buttons or whatever it is he needs that he thinks he's going to be able to sell to a higher bidder. So it's really, I like that maybe there's a conflict over materials.
Okay.
The question is, where now?
Where indeed?
Yeah, because this is maybe somewhere Krennic would go himself. So maybe not too much of a dive.
Yeah. I don't want it to be some faraway, dusty planet there. It could be, could be like a Dantooine, or could be. I want to say Wobani, because by then
that's a prison planet. That's not fun
now. Yeah.
Yeah, but we're searching for a respectable Star Wars planet, right? Yeah. So, but who knows? Maybe it's a place that we can make stuff up. We have that power.
We do.
Maybe it is a place like Cloud City, because I can't believe that Cloud City is the only city that happens to be floating above like a rich environment.
Right.
So maybe there's another kind of city.
I was actually going to ask you guys, because you know a lot more than I do. Do we know when Lando first showed up in Cloud City?
Gotta be.
It's not really answered yet. That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get that. But,
Okay.
but it's
Yeah.
around, it's not too far. Well, because like, it's interesting because that's a great Star Wars nerd level time.
here we go.
Because in
Push up
that
our
story
glasses.
I mentioned, from a certain point of view, he and Lobot are hanging out in this bar. There's no mention or feeling that he has gone to Cloud City yet.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it must be after the events of A New Hope.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think that I like this idea of a place that's like Cloud City, but not quite. So I think they go to a place called Thundertown.
Thundertown.
It is also a floating city.
Okay.
But it's not as
Inhabited
pleasant.
only by metalheads.
Exactly.
Galactic metalheads make their home on Thundertown.
I actually like that. I mean, the Star Wars equivalent of metalheads, because
Yeah.
I think it's floating above a big gaseous planet, but the environment is that the lightning is constantly going in this cloud, and there's Thundertown is shielded.
Right.
Can there please be a droid named CBGB?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. So Lando is there. In fact, why not? He's traveling with CBGB. Thundertown produces. We can just make up a mineral. The books have been all about dunium.
Dunium, yeah.
But what is a metal that would be forged in the atmosphere by constant lightning, like some cool metal sounding thing, like ionized something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking of something like sonium, but the opposite of dunium, but dumium. I don't know, but
Let's go with that. Ionized sonium.
Ionized sonium.
We'd like to come up with things that are hard for us to remember as we're improvising.
Yep.
Ionized sonium.
Sonium, yeah.
Sonium. All right, so Lando is cutting a deal with his trusty robot friend he's had for a little while, CBGB. What does CBGB look like, Matt?
He's a little rough around the edges, obviously. I think he's metal, but held together with a lot of leather. It's like he's not quite functioning the way he was originally designed to.
Right.
So I think he's. I think he might be in the 3PO. I'm blanking on the type of
The protocol droid?
Protocol. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like sort of an earlier version of a protocol droid.
Nice.
I like that. He survived, and then like maybe he's had to do his own repairs, and leather is what he grabbed.
Yeah, that's what he can get, and now he just kind of likes the aesthetic.
And he's got an eye patch.
Yeah.
I like that. That even a droid would have.
Like it's a bit of flair. I like my droids with flair.
I do.
So like one of his sockets was empty. Eye sockets was empty, so he just slapped a leather patch over it.
I love that.
Okay, all right. And Ken, I think Lando's got some puffer pigs in a cage. They're valuable,
Probably.
and he's trading them for the ionized sunium.
Look, I'm fine with the puffer pigs. It's just they have to make the bouncing ball sound.
It is really disturbing.
Yeah.
It sounds like getting hit by a ball in gym class.
Yeah.
Which,
They should have known their audience would have it. That would be triggering for us.
Exactly. I have a sense memory when the puffer pigs expand. Rejection and pain.
Yeah.
All right. So let's just say there's like a meeting room. It's like a pretty open place. It's got a big window so you can watch the lightning.
Yeah.
But it's a place where people kind of go to make deals. It's a little, it's part of a whole city, but it's kind of meeting room.
I like that.
And Lando goes in. Let's just say he's meeting with a random alien. Who knows what kind of alien? Doesn't matter.
It's Angus Young from AC/DC.
Angus Young.
I mean, he's the actor playing.
It's being played by Angus Young. All right, yeah. He's a Corellian. Fine.
Yeah.
We're good.
Dressed
Angus
as a schoolboy.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole thing.
Carillion schoolboy uniform.
Angus Young, the Corellian schoolboy, who's just basically smuggling some ionized sunium out of Thundertown to sell to Lando Calrissian for puffer pigs. They're making their deal. They're exchanging pleasantries.
Right.
When in strides Orson Krennic.
Yeah.
Cape grazing the ground regally.
Yeah. The Death Troopers there. Do we have to write them out?
No, I think he leaves the Death Troopers at the door for now. I think they're there.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're there with him.
So they're on the other side.
They're on the other side of the door.
That Death Trooper talk.
Yeah, they're squealing. Yeah, they're basically just like, "How's your day?"
Yeah. So Krennic walks in.
Yeah, strides in.
Yeah. Ka-dink. I think it's just he's there. So Angus and Lando are making a deal.
Yeah, I think the puffer pigs are in a crate, and I think the Sunium is right there on the table in front of God and everybody.
So I think Krennic is like, hold there. I need that ionized Sunium. Whatever it's called.
I like Sunium. I like the idea that he pronounces it Sunium.
Yeah. Ionized Sunium. I need that.
He's trying to sound high class.
I declare it mine for the Empire.
Oh, says Lando. You mean
well.
I'm sorry, I'm making a deal for this Sunium.
No, it belongs to the Empire.
So at this point, Matt, how do you think Space Angus Young reacts? Is he just out of here? Does he not want to deal with the Empire, or does he try to get in the middle of this?
I think he's got a short fuse, and he goes from 0 to 60 way too fast, and immediately gets knocked the fuck out.
Oh, okay.
By Krennic. Yeah.
So Angus Young steps to Krennic and is like,
or maybe he jumps up to get the hell out of there because he knows he's run afoul of the Empire in the past.
Yeah.
And Krennic just gives him a karate chop to the throat. That drops him.
I like this. I think Angus Young says, "Oi!" and he gets up and he starts running, and Krennic just
just sticks
chops and
just sticks his arm out and hits him right in the Adam's apple.
Why?
And then he hits the ground, goes the thunderstruck, and then he passes out.
Thunderstruck in Thundertown.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, the irony.
Totally fair.
Now, Ken.
Yeah.
Now, Lando is going to, I think, try to talk his way out of this. Because he's still got some puffer pigs, and they're really only good for trading. He doesn't like the damn things either.
Right.
So I think he tries to offer the puffer pigs, right?
Well, have you ever considered the value of puffer pigs? You could trade them for more Sunium. We call it Sunium around these parts, but you call it like what you want. You should consider that. I happen to have 3 puffer pigs right here. They're very rare.
I am not interested in puffer pigs. I am Director Orson Krennic. And I think at that point, Lando says his name back and mispronounces it.
Yeah, all right there. Orson Krennic, man. That's great, man. I like your job. I'd never take some kind of administrative position myself. Man. I like to stay out in the galaxy, floating around.
Nice. So I think maybe, does Krennic just reach for the Sunium?
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, look, if we're allowed, I'd like to sort of rewrite the character a little bit, because honestly, the way he's depicted in Rogue One, it seems like he would bring in the Death Troopers to as backup. But I like the idea that he's more of a, he's badass enough to feel like I can handle this on my own.
He wants people to think he's a badass. He wants to prove to himself that he is. So he would wait to call the Death Troopers in until he has to.
Right. So he's done talking. He just puts his hand down on the table and just moves that Sunium right over Sunium.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. And I think Lando says, all right, that's fine. There's nothing I can do to stop you. And then quietly taps on his little wrist, which tells CBGB to attack. Gives a silent command to CBGB.
And that was the last time we saw CBGB.
Yeah, so Lando's still real cool. He's just sipping a drink and going, too bad, you missed out on those puffer pigs. But he's sent CBGB to attack.
I mean, the main thing about this whole setup here is that we all know that Lando, he's a lover, not a fighter. He's his last resort is getting into a physical altercation. So he's going to try every move in the book to not only avoid getting his pretty face beat up, but also avoid running afoul of the Empire, because he's too smart to get into it with them.
And we'll see if he can stay totally non-physically engaged. That's his challenge. I don't know if he'll make it, though. He's going to try.
Yeah.
So CBG...
I didn't know if that was okay with this is not a true brawl if he doesn't actually raise a fist.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. His first line of defense is CBGB. So what does CBGB do? Does it have interesting weapons? Does it just...
I think he's got a fair number of modifications. He probably has a galactic switchblade that can pop out of his wrist.
So a galactic switchblade comes out? What else?
I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to think of like a broken glass bottle that he keeps keeps on his person.
Yeah, I like that.
It's
He
actually
opens a little compartment.
I think it actually is on a belt. Like he's the only droid that would I could have put it inside me. Nah,
I'll just keep this.
I like that it's not a vibroax or anything. It's just an actual broken bottle.
Yeah, that's his sidearm. His glass.
Yeah,
a shard of glass.
It's got like a mirror and a razor blade thing that comes out too. That, pops out.
So he's just a bunch of sharp things are sticking out of him,
Mm-hmm.
and he just comes slashing at Krennic.
Yeah.
Does Krennic use his cape to block?
I think he uses his cape to obscure, almost like a matador. He just he spins around, and then suddenly CBGB's all tangled up in the cape. Where's Krennic? He's 10 feet away.
Is that literally what Krennic is saying? He's literally saying, "Where's Krennic?
Where's Krennic?" And then CBGB's just flailing around with this white cape over his head, and that like because he's an early model of protocol droid, that completely shuts him down. Like he does not know how to handle.
Oh yeah.
He's like an early driverless car that like runs into a tumbleweed. Like he just does not know how to process it, so he just completely shuts off.
That's great.
Yeah. So in this process, he has cut Krennic's cape to ribbons.
Oh yeah,
and
which is an embarrassment. And I think Lando
cape.
How dare you?
Lando points out how embarrassing this is, doesn't he, Ken?
Oh man, look at that, man. I understand the value of good capes, man, but I'm looking over there. You had a good cape, and now you don't. That's sad.
That's all tore up.
Yeah.
A torn up cape is a very sad thing.
Very sad thing.
Very sad thing.
Brother, you're tore up from the floor up.
I've got a line on some good capes. Maybe if we could make a deal, I could hold on to the Sunium. I could give you these puffer pigs and get you a cape.
Yeah, I know a guy, man. My friend Lobot will. He is the inside track on it.
Enough! You've humiliated Orson Krennic for the last time.
All right. So I think Krennic pulls a blaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And does he just menace Lando, or does he actually fire on Lando?
He's afraid to shoot.
Okay, yeah.
Krennic, I mean, there's a reason he just pointed the gun at Jyn and was just like hoping something else would happen.
Right.
Yeah, deep down, he's not a soldier. He's an administrator.
Yeah.
Right. And he wants people to be afraid of him. So he's still just trying to intimidate Lando.
Yeah.
And Lando can take the measure of a man, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So he knows this.
Yeah, so I think as Krennic points his gun at him, which from playing Battlefront, I believe his gun is almost like a 6-shooter.
Yeah.
It's got rounds in it, basically. So he's like pointing at it like, I'm taking this Sunium for the Empire. And Lando's like, you ain't going to pull that trigger. Like, you ain't going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be okay. Now, you don't even get the puffer pigs anymore. And I'm taking all of this.
Okay, nice. And I think Lando starts to get up.
Yeah.
He's got the puffer pig case in one hand.
He takes a sip of a drink. He gets up slow.
Real slow. Yep. He takes a sip of a drink. He picks up the puffer pigs. He picks up the Sunium. But GB8 is mostly powered down, but it's
CBGB.
CBGB. GB8. What the hell was that?
That's a hybrid where they used once CBGB was completely deactivated, they used some of his parts to repair a BB droid, and they created CB8.
CB8. I'm inventing canon without knowing it.
That's
CBGB.
9. That's episode 9, man.
I think CBGB is a last defense. Fires one of his sharp implements off of his body.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it hits Krennic's arm.
Yeah.
Krennic's arm blasts.
Yep.
It fires. It doesn't mean to.
Harmlessly into the crown molding of the establishment.
I think it grazes the Sunium.
Oh, okay.
Sunium.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
You're on Krennic's side now with the pronunciation.
I'm just going to swap. I'm going crazy. I don't know droids' names. I don't know nothing.
Yeah.
What happens when Sunium gets grazed by a blaster?
Oh, well, it starts to slowly glow and hum. And it's building in intensity. And Lando just looks at him, takes another sip of his drink, and is like, oh, boy, have you done it. You have done it. We got to get out of here.
All right. So does Lando go for the door?
Yeah. He tries to, again, go into what Matt was saying. Like, Lando's, he doesn't necessarily want to fight, but he knows this is a brawl, but Lando's going to win it in his own way.
Exactly. So he heads for the door.
So is he leaving the Sunium on the table?
It's useless now. Now, when you engage it with the direct laser bolts, it causes a reaction, a chemical reaction in it. That he's like this.
So that's totally spoiled.
Yeah,
it's. But what about the puffer pigs?
He's trying to. Good point. He doesn't want to leave those. Those are valuable. They've proven valuable in the galaxy.
Right, yeah.
So
not today, but
he grabs the crates because they're not puffed out yet, and he starts grabbing the crate. He's like, we got to go, and I'm out of here.
Yeah,
that's gonna explode.
But as he gets to the door, now that blaster fire has called the 2 Death Troopers. Mm-hmm. The 2 Death Troopers step in, sealed the door. Now Lando is trapped in a room with 2 Death Troopers, an angry middle management Imperial, and dangerous glowing Sunium.
Yeah, the
puffer pigs in a crate. This is just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah,
this has got to get explosive, friends.
Yeah, this is. And the Death Troopers hold up their blasters. They're like,
I like that they sound like really cool versions of the Swedish Chef.
Yeah.
Ate cookies.
And I think Krennic says to one of the Death Troopers, pick up the Sunium.
Oh, yeah.
We need to take that.
Yeah, and the Death Trooper squawks in fear, like,
Lando's like, okay, you don't want to have him do that, but all right, go for it.
And I think I think both the Death Troopers go and do it.
Okay,
and they pick it up, and I think why just dance around it? I think it explodes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it blows up. I think tendrils of lightning going out from the explosion.
Yep.
I think that glass window that looked out on Thundertown actually explodes.
Oh, my God.
It shatters. There's suddenly a vacuum in the room, which looks great for capes.
Oh, yeah. Lando's cape is flowing triumphantly.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Krennic has somehow picked up his shredded cape and put it back on.
Yes.
And so the just tendrils of torn cape are floating behind him.
It looks so cool. There's thunder cracking outside. Oh, man, it looks cool. Except for the puffer pigs. That looks cool.
They're still in the cage.
They are never going to look cool.
They're never going to look cool. But both of these Death Troopers, I think, met death. They were blasted with explosive shrapnel, lightning bolts. They're shredded.
It looks not unlike when the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, when the Nazis get killed by the Ark of the Covenant.
They melt.
Shoots electricity. The troops.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Lando, I think, is he's holding on to actually the crate of puffer pig, so he doesn't get sucked out this window.
Right.
Krennic is holding on to CBGB, and they're both in dangerous peril.
Right.
So, Ken, do you have a vision of what happens next?
I think, what happens next is they're trying to survive this. The pigs get stressed, and I think we knew it would come to this. The 3 pigs puff.
Yeah, it's the old Chekhov rule. If there's a puffer pig in the first act,
it must puff. Must puff by the end.
So they start bouncing around the room, boom, 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 and they just start hitting both Krennic and Lando in the face.
Fighting the wind,
chaos.
Yeah,
but then maybe somehow just a complete chance. But the 3 of them line up in such a way that they basically fill the gap left by the broken window and reseal the room. Yeah. So everybody having been, spun around and flung from to either ends of the room, everyone drops down to the back to the floor as equilibrium is regained in this room.
Yeah.
And now Krennic is really pissed.
I think Krennic goes borderline irrational, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we already know he's obsessed. I think what he needed this Sunium for is to make sure the buttons on the Death Star all glowed appropriately.
Oh, perfect, yeah.
Yeah, and now they're not going to be glowy enough, and everyone's going to yell at him, like, what are with these dim buttons on the Death Star?
I need my fire buttons to glow.
And maybe when the puffer pigs filled the window and everyone, dropped to the floor, just so happens that Krennic and Lando, they're on the floor equidistant to Krennic's blaster, and they both see it at the same time,
and they both scramble for it.
They lock eyes, and they know one of us has to get this, and the other one's getting shot.
Right. Yeah, right. And I think Krennic just screams, "My buttons need to glow!" And he just starts scrambling for it. Is Lando faster, Ken?
Lando is faster, yeah, because that took a lot of time for Krennic to yell that.
And so he wasted precious seconds yelling that illogical phrase that no one understood.
So Lando grabs it, stands up, and is like, I don't think anything about you is going to glow anymore.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So Lando's got the blaster. He's got the drop on Krennic.
Pointed at him.
Okay.
But we know, again, Lando's too smart to kill an Imperial officer if he doesn't have to.
Yeah.
So now he starts slowly backing out of the room and just saying, let's forget this ever happened.
Yeah.
Krennic, obviously, not okay with that arrangement.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
And but something has to get in Lando's way.
Well, I think what happens is that Lando has something happen to him that has never happened to him before. Is his cape messes him up.
Oh, my.
He steps on the hem of his own cape because it got stretched out by that wind.
Maybe he had a full-length cape in this, and this is the day he decided, I'm only wearing half-length capes from now on.
I think
never again will I be brought down by a cape.
That is 100% correct. Lando steps on his stylish but too long cape.
Cape.
And he falls over and he lets off a shot as he's falling.
Yeah.
Hits Krennic in the shoulder. Krennic's got bad luck with shoulders and blasters.
This would be after Labu, so he's like, no, my shoulder again with my shoulder.
He's real upset. Upset.
Yeah.
So and then Lando's trying to get up, and before he can even get up, Krennic's just like on top of him.
Yeah.
Throttling him.
Yeah. Good old-fashioned choking.
Good old-fashioned choking.
Two-handed around that neck.
Classic Dan Aykroyd Trading Places. It was the Dukes type throttling.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that's a good place to pause in our narrative and decide. We always talk about, like, in a straight fight, like, who would really win? Is one of these people just massively overpowered?
Right.
But also, based on our narrative and who we like, who do we want to win?
I mean, I think Lando, by all accounts, would win. But Krennic, he's not a military man, but he has gone through the training. So he probably has some ability to hand-to-hand combat, fighting, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I can't say it's easy that it'd be a Lando victory. Can't say it easily, but it's Lando. The guy's been in so many fights. Even though he may not want to. He knows how to get out of situations.
Yeah. How do you feel, man?
Obviously I want Lando to win, but I have a slightly different read on this. I'm starting to feel like maybe Lando's never actually been in a fight in his entire life because he has talked his way out of every single situation that he's been in. And in his time hanging out with Han Solo, he knows that Han can Han's going to jump right in and start the fisticuffs, and he can just sort of. I think he's on some level something of a coward, honestly.
Right.
And so he might have he has street smarts certainly, and he knows how to get out of a fight and how to survive. So I'm not going to say he will go down easily, but I do think Krennic's training might give him the edge.
Give him an edge.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to split the difference. I think it's... I agree with your assessment of Lando. I think maybe he's been trained, but it was so long ago, in his tactic of smooth my way out of everything has been far too successful for his own good.
Right.
Yeah.
Krennic has some rusty military training, but I think that even though there's going to be a little bit of physical combat here, I think Lando is going to get the upper hand because I think he's just a little bit more smooth and calm, even though he's not a better pugilist.
He'll find a way.
He'll find a way.
Right.
And
he's not going to win clean or fair, but he is. Yeah, I'm with that.
Yeah.
I think I have to agree.
So I think I have the beginnings of what happens, but then I don't have the end yet.
Okay.
But I think the first thing that happens is I think Lando manages to just shove Krennic away.
Okay.
And they both stand up. Now the blaster's gone skittering away. And Lando knows he's not going to make it to the door, that he's got to put this guy out.
Right.
And I think Lando takes a big swing, and he misses, and then Krennic kind of tackles him. And I think what should be a really cool fight turns very quickly into just like, a couple buddies who are kind of mad at each other but aren't willing to commit to actually fighting.
It's an ugly, 6-year-old kid wrestling.
There's some slapping, there's some wrestling, there's
slap fight.
Somebody, I
probably
think
a lot of scratching of the face.
Krennic tries to just grab Lando's leg, and they both fall down.
They're both hurling insults at each other, like it's the other one who's being kind of cowardly, but in fact they're both acting really in an unmanly fashion.
You're terrible looking in a cape, says Lando. Yeah.
Your cape is shredded like your chances of promotion. Krennic's really upset at that.
Yeah, super upset. So, Ken, do you have a vision of what happens next for Lando to find some clever way to truly get the upper hand?
Yeah, I think he they're both on their feet, right? So I think he reaches for Krennic and grabs him and then pulls him and kind of like almost in a wrestling match, like running him towards the ropes. He's running him towards the wall and the window that's full of puffer pigs.
The window o' pigs,
Yeah, the window o' pigs is a good way to say it. And he tosses Krennic into it, and he boom bounces off those puffer pigs
like ropes.
Yeah, and goes flying across the room.
Wow. Does he go flying all the way across the room and hit the far wall?
No, he's just on that table. There's a conference room, right? We determined that?
Yeah.
Boom! Just slides across the table and then falls off of it.
Okay, falls off of it.
Yeah.
Matt, is that enough to take Krennic out?
Yeah, I think there's got to be one more exchange. And honestly, I kind of feel like the puffer pigs, I like that you brought them back in.
Yeah.
I also like the idea that in that exchange, one of them was punctured, and now there's a thin little bit of air whistling out of the puffer pig, and I don't know. I mean, first of all, it's going to look cool because it's blowing what's left of Lando's cape and his hair. Everything's blowing.
Oh, yeah.
He looks pretty heroic standing in front of this blowing air, and then maybe there's one little unit of sunium. I don't know how sunium is divided up, honestly. I never really grasped that. Is it a coin? Is it a cube?
It's a crystal.
Right, it's a crystal.
Yeah.
And so this can't end without Lando doing and saying something cool. And so he there's one left that hasn't been activated, and he says, Krennic, you should have left well enough alone, or something more clever than that. And he holds it up against the whistling hole of air, and then just releases it, and it flies across the room and hits Krennic dead in the throat. Or maybe into his gaping mouth, and it chokes Krennic to death. I know he's not supposed to die in this.
Well, from Lando's perspective, he has killed. We can reveal the truth of what actually happened.
Yeah.
But I love that. Lando's got the cool tough guy line.
Yeah.
Should have left well enough alone.
That actually is a trite enough line to work in Star Wars. There would never be more clever than that. That's pretty basic in terms of parting shots, but it's kind of what we're expecting.
Heroic smack talk. Yeah. Agree. It just goes sailing into Krennic's throat. He grabs his throat. He falls over.
Yeah.
Ken, what do you think happens next?
Well, I think Lando readjusts his cape. He knows those puffer pigs are lost. He can't get them. He's lost. It's not been a good day.
No, he lost everything.
Man.
And one of them's losing air, so he has to get out of the room pretty quickly.
Yeah, he's like, I need a drink. Beep, boop, beep, boop, boop, boop. Context Lobot. What's left of CBGB, if at all. And I think he just steps over Krennic and thinking this man's dying. Lando doesn't really want to watch that.
No.
And he heads off to get a drink and meet the Tanika sisters.
Yeah.
And
but maybe out of respect for a fellow cape wearer, before he leaves, he drapes Krennic's cape over his head just to give him a little bit of dignity as he chokes to death on some sunium.
Yeah, I think so. And I think he just says, end of the day, your day is worse than mine. Almost perfecting those cool lines. Almost. He walks out, and that's where Lando exits our picture, walk into the bar to nurse his wounds and his bad day.
Yeah.
And Lobot says, "What happened, sir?" And he says, "Well, Lobot, it was quite a caper."
And Krennic struggles up.
Yeah.
Spits out the glass.
Yeah.
Yes, very ugly.
Very ugly.
And what happens to Krennic?
Well, he survives, but he looks around the room, surveys the 2 dead death troopers. The Sonium's exploded; it's useless, and even the pufferbigs, which he himself could use to trade on the black market, he can't. They're damaged. He grabs what's left of his cape, and he just leaves, vowing to never speak of this again.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think he says it out loud to himself.
I will never speak of this again.
And credits.
Now, you fade up to a post-credit scene, high above Jeddah City, as the first test of the Death Star. And you hear Krennic and Tarkin and, all right, fire. We're going to just take out Jeddah City. The Imperial Death Star gunner looks around the board, and he's like, I don't. He looks at his friend, and he's like, which one's the fire button? I thought it was supposed to be glowing.
This one.
This one.
They take out a little pocket flashlight. Right over there, like an usher at a movie theater. Here you go, right there.
Yeah. And Krennic's looking over, he sees this, and he just in the back of his mind, Lando Calrissian.
Beautiful. That is our story. That was a Cape Stravaganza, if ever there was one. Oh, gosh. So we love doing these fights with the major characters. We can really dive deep. So keep rating and reviewing us on iTunes. I don't know what the next goal will be. We'll set a number of ratings and reviews, but just keep them coming. We love to do this as a fun treat, and thank you so much for rating and reviewing on iTunes. It helps us out a lot. If there are characters you want to see fight, let us know with the hashtag Databank Brawl so where we can find them. Ken, where can people find you?
You can find me at Ken Knapsack. Of course, don't forget I have the Knapsack Files podcast and my Game of Thrones show, Daily Thrones, on the Anchor app, which is also a daily podcast as well. A lot of podcasts in the world.
Almost too many. No. Matt, you are a man of podcasts.
I'm going to mention 2 more. Yeah. Well, you can find me at Matt Belknap with a silent K in the last name on Twitter and Instagram. I guess I don't really use it, but and then Never Not Funny is the show that I co-host and produce with Jimmy Pardo. That's every Thursday morning on Earwolf and wherever you get podcasts. We also just launched a new spin-off game show podcast called Playing Games with Jimmy Pardo. And it's a 6-episode mini-series that just started this past week. We've got some great guests coming up with Scott Aukerman, Zach Galifianakis, Rich Sommer, Lauren Ash, Christelle Alonso. The Nikki Glaser episode just went up. And it's super fun. It's a half-hour sort of classic-style game show played with 3 contestants on the phone and silly pop culture trivia games and all that good stuff.
That sounds amazing. Those are all awesome comedy people.
Yeah. It was super fun to record, and I'm enjoying seeing people finally hearing it. We recorded it a while back, so it's fun to finally share it with people.
Awesome. So be sure to check those out. You can check out my podcast, Obsessed, on the Feral Audio Network, and you can check my website, josephscrimshaw.com, for when I'm doing shows here in Los Angeles. Also, of course, you can support ForceCenter on Patreon. It's patreon.com/ForceCenter, and our merch is available at tpublic.com/user/ForceCenter. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram as @JosephScrimshaw. You can like ForceCenter on Facebook and follow us on Twitter as @ForceCenterPod. And until next time, as Luke Skywalker once said, well, no one was really listening to him. I care. That's it for Databank Brawl.